The Hollow Nurse. Alder's Edge was the kind of town that didn't change. The kind of place where generations lived and died on the same soil, where secrets were passed down like family heirlooms, and where the trees seemed to whisper things they shouldn't. The people lived quietly, clinging to their routines as if routine alone could keep the darkness at bay. Nora Whitaker was one of them. A soft-spoken nurse with tired eyes and a kind smile, she moved through the community like a balm. She tended to the sick, consoled the dying, and somehow remembered the names of every patient she ever cared for. Children brought her wildflowers. Elders trusted her with their final breaths. So, when Nora disappeared, something in Alder's Edge split. It was a child who found the first clue, a smear of dark red on a birch tree along the forest trail behind Nora's cottage. At first, no one believed it was blood. "Fox," said the sheriff. "Maybe a deer." But that changed when they found Nora's medical bag half buried in the dirt nearby. Her ID tag dangled from a snapped lanyard, its plastic casing cracked, her photo scratched out as if by claws. There was no sign of a struggle. No footprints, no calls for help. Only an unnatural stillness in the woods, and the overwhelming sense that the forest itself was holding its breath. Enter the witch catchers. Not cops, not priests, something in between. They came in silence, wrapped in black coats stitched with wards of bone and hair. They weren't welcome in Alder's Edge, but no one had the courage to stop them. They went straight to Nora's home and began their dark work, scraping soot from the fireplace, collecting dust from beneath her bed, cutting threads from her laundry line. They whispered to her walls, listened to the echoes in her floorboards. What they found terrified them. Beneath Nora's cottage was a root cellar, long sealed behind an iron hatch. The witch catchers pried it open and descended. What they discovered was not a cellar. It was a chamber. The walls were carved with crude symbols. A mirror stood in the center, ancient, warped, its frame crawling with strange runes that moved when stared at too long. Inside the mirror was not a reflection, but a depth, as if the glass opened onto something deeper than darkness. Worse still were the photographs pinned around the room, snapshots of townsfolk, sleeping, screaming, eyes gouged out or mouths sewn shut in charcoal scrawls. And Nora's notes. It's coming through them. It knows who watches. It listens through the veins. I tried to stop the bleeding, but it wasn't blood. Something wears the skin of the sick. I saw it smile in Mrs. Dalka's face. It was wrong. As word spread, others came forward. Whispers of dreams filled with black vines and whispering teeth. One woman, Evelyn Cross, admitted to waking up outside her house with muddy feet and no memory of how she got there. A boy coughed up something that looked like hair but moved on its own. Another patient of Nora's, long dead, was found with fresh bite marks on his exhumed body. The catchers realized too late, Nora hadn't been abducted. She had gone down there, into that basement chamber, willingly. She had seen something, known something. She had opened something that was never meant to be opened. And then they started hearing her. At night, a hollow voice echoing through the trees, soft and cracked like wind through brittle leaves. "Let me in. I'm still your nurse. You left me down there." Reports came in from all over town. People seeing Nora at their windows. Her face pressed to the glass but wrong. Her smile was too wide, her eyes completely black and oozing. Her nurse's uniform was soaked at the hem as though she had walked out of something wet and ancient. When anyone opened the door, she was gone. But the house would be colder after. Things would start to rot. One man hung himself after claiming Nora crawled out of his mirror and whispered into his throat. All signs pointed to the town's historian, Edmund Blackwell. His family had been in Alder's Edge since its founding, and Nora's notes showed she had met with him several times before her disappearance. The catchers raided his estate. What they found was older than horror. A hidden ledger of sacrifices, ancestral rites of offering the caretaker, pages written in ink and what looked like fingernails, a pact signed in the 1700s between the founders of Alder's Edge and an entity called the Nurse Below. According to the records, every 70 years, someone was chosen to descend into the hollow place beneath Alder's Edge. A nurse, a healer, a bleeder. They were to give themselves willingly, and in return the town would thrive. The last entry read, Whitaker N. prepared, chosen by dream. She knows. Let her go. Let it feed. When the witch catchers confronted Blackwell, he was already dying. His skin cracked like old paper, leaking roots instead of blood. With his final breath, he croaked. It needed someone kind, so she'd walk in willingly. They destroyed the mirror in Nora's cellar. But it didn't matter. The next week, the medical center burned to the ground. Everyone inside was found hollowed. Their bodies intact, but every organ gone, their bones replaced by branches. In the ash, someone found a nurse's tag. Nora Whitaker. Still scratched out. Still watching. Epilogue. Alder's Edge is empty now. Abandoned. Roads swallowed by moss and silence. But sometimes, on moonless nights, travelers swear they see a pale woman on the edge of the forest. She doesn't move. She only stares. And if you listen closely, you can hear her humming a lullaby with no words, and the wet sound of something crawling beneath your skin. She is not gone. She is beneath, and she is waiting for the next one to care.